to Corporate Cafecito, a podcast based on professional development, career growth, and respecting our cultural identity. Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Cafecito. Yo soy Nayeli Suarez Gas, and with me is one of probably my longest friends in terms of, like, we went to kindergarten together.
Long time, man. This is great though. I'm loving this right now.
Yeah. I actually was joking that Rafi, you've been like one of the most consistent people in my life because I've known you since grade school, and then in high school, like, our friends were similar, even in college, and then Papo is his cousin is married to my cousin, so now we're even at the same family parties.
So it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah, it is supposed to be like this,
and that's why I'm loving it.
100%.
I was thinking on my way here, like, wow, since I was little, little.
Yeah, like, I mean, we're talking
pictures. Years. We won't give out years, right?
Yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah. Don't sell me out. But one of the reasons that I brought Rafi to share him with you guys is because Rafi was an early entrepreneur, and I know him as Rafael Rodriguez, Rafi, but you guys probably know him as DJ Pamp, or how many names have you gone by?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm Ralphie, but they call me Pamp. I'm Chicago's house music MC. So a lot of people think I'm a DJ, but I'm not a DJ, right? But it's because of the records, so I understand.
Okay.
But I actually write and record music. And
Very cool.
We make records, right? And so, you know, from that time where we left off, right? Because I left where we were going to school, 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then, you know, time fast forward, I got into music, I started writing, and then I was off and running professionally. You know?
So how old were you when you first were like, you know what, I want to do this? Because I feel like it was early on. So
I was always into breaking and dance, and I was always into the scene. DJing was always around me. My families are DJs. The DJ that stands behind me now is my cousin.
I love that.
Shout out Triple H. But and so I got into like writing and getting into music probably like sophomore year of high school. And so I fell in love with writing, and then I started rhyming over instrumentals, and I found out I had a talent, right? And it was just being a teenager locked in my room, growing up as a teen, you know, and I figured out, I got something here, and I enjoyed it.
I think a lot of us probably thought we had a lot of talents in high school. I know I thought I was pretty good at a lot of different things, but what helped you stay with it?
It was the passion, right? It's just you find out you love something, and you follow it and you go with it. I was into baseball really big ever since I was young. I'm a mean shortstop, all right? And so anyway, I found that love, and I just continued doing it and listening to other artists. You know, the hip hop culture is what drove me that way, because Nayeli, you know, I was 7 years old catching a bus on North Avenue. North Avenue. And it was rough then.
It was rough then.
So I seen a lot in the streets. I grew up pretty fast. And so I gravitated to that culture because the MCs were talking about what I grew up with. And then when I started writing, it just came full circle for me. And I was like, wow. And it just only took me one time to rap in front of my friends and see that they were like,
whoa,
who is this?
Yeah.
Hey, where did that come from? And that's how it was, right? And then now it's like, how do I lock in on this? What do I do?
Right.
And I stood in my room and I taught myself rhyme patterns, melodies, how to train my voice. And next thing you know, I'm doing like shows in the clubs. You know, there's like these rap battles, and
I remember seeing your face on like flyers in high school, and I was like, what? Yes. Like, I know him.
A constant hustle. Like, I'm still doing it.
I know.
So it's like when you get the feedback from the crowd, it's like, okay, they're feeling it. And I enjoy making people feel good and have fun. So I just kept at it. I kept at it until I found myself in the right place at the right time.
You talk about where we grew up, and I remember, and I don't know if you know this, I got jumped on my way home from kindergarten. And it was by two teenagers. It was my brother and me. We were walking home. He was in fourth grade. I was in third grade, and I was in kindergarten. So when you talk about like where we grew up, it was a hustle. It was like, and so I could see like the hearing those lyrics and being like, yeah, like that was our neighborhood.
It was.
Having gone through that, like, was there ever a time when your friends or your family or maybe even like your parents were like, you know what, like we left that behind, like grow up or let it go?
No, I feel like
Was it opposite?
it was, it's just been part of our family and our culture that my parents just strive to keep me on the right path. And so when I seen the wrong in things, I knew, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's only right and wrong here. I had to make that choice, right? And it wasn't always right. It wasn't. But we made it out of that situation, and I grew as a person, and I keep that close to me. And people know me. So they know, like, Pamp's a cool guy. But, and it's just, that but will let you know, like, I tell people, hey, man, this is how I grew up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what walk of life. I tell them, hey, man, this is how I grew up, and this is what it is. And then when they see me on stage doing my thing, the people around me, they're just like, wow, it's like two different people here. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's
who
not.
I
It's
am.
the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's who I am. So I take it, and just like you experienced getting jumped, and I believe it because I watched a lot of things growing up in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Walking to the bus, walking home. And I was 7 years old on my own in the streets, because our parents were working.
It's so fun, of course. I think about that now, and I think about like my kids, and my parents are always like, "No los dejes caminar a la tienda,"
Yes.
and I'm just like, you know what you guys did to us?
Right.
Like we were on buses, on trains.
Different
like,
lifestyle.
Yeah. I'm like, you know why Chicago's my playground? Because I used to cut school all the time, go to Chinatown for lunch, like do all these things because
No, not Nayeli.
I know.
Come on.
I was also a nerd. But it's like I think we grew up a little more fearless.
Yes.
Because we were like, yeah,
Yes. We were rough.
we're just gonna do it.
Yes.
You're two boys. Beautiful babies.
Thank you. Teenagers.
Do they I know.
Oh,
I know.
They're giving me a run for my money.
Man.
I love them.
What are their passions? Do you see part of you in them?
So I do. Very artsy. My youngest, he's into creating scenes in movies. So I'm
very cool.
trying to push him that way because he's really into it. My oldest, more into gaming. He's a very independent thinker. He has his visions. He wants to be an owner. I don't want to do anything else. I'm gonna be an owner of businesses, establishments, and I'm gonna make my money. We just had this conversation.
I love that.
And I told him, I said, listen, whatever you do, your parents are always gonna tell you. We tell our kids, hey,
Yep.
find out early what your passion is and
Right.
follow it early,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Our parents told us that.
Yeah.
But
My parents were just like, go to school. Go to school.
Right.
Get good grades, go to school.
right, and so, but that's what we did. But were we really thinking about what do I want to become? What is my goal, and how am I going to achieve that, right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know about your parents. My parents, my dad, he didn't really finish high school.
Yeah.
My mom finished, so their goal was to get me through it, right? And I was the first in the family to graduate, and now I see everybody following the footsteps,
Yeah.
and going past me, right? So I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm teaching them, find your goal early
Early
and
follow
start
it.
aiming at it, because that's how you're gonna achieve your goal. It's just work. They
Yeah.
see me hustle. I'm dad, but they're like, wow, this guy's.
Do you make them
running
work
around.
with you?
I've tried.
You're like Beyonce, you have Blue
Yeah,
Ivy on
yeah.
your checks.
Right. So I tried, right, to put
Mm-hmm.
them on the checks, but they don't see me as Pamp. They really don't care. If something catches their ear, they're like, hey, dad, yeah, that's hitting.
Stay with that.
Stay with that, right? So, but they're the youth. I also listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're on their own thing, and the whole Stars and P. I got my own line.
Yep.
And so they like some of that. So I put them in it so that they walk around. They're my little billboards.
Yeah,
And try to teach them
100%.
like, hey, if something happens, you got something to keep running with. You just got to put your mind to it.
Yeah, like you could be the owner.
You could do
You
it.
could be all this.
You could do. We had a little conversation just a few minutes ago. It's whatever you want to achieve, you know.
Just do it.
And I'm watching you too.
I know.
I'm like, wow, and I love it. I love it.
You know,
we need more Latinos doing
big stuff.
big things, right?
So, you know, when I think about growing up, and I think about like the people we knew, like Chino, and you know, Papo and Mario and my cousin Lore, and you know, I just think like it was like such a wholesome group. Like we all grew up together, and like we stayed with it. We just lift each other up. Like I
Yes.
love seeing like, and so that's why I invited Rafi. I'm like, you gotta
And-
come. I've seen what you did, and he's like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I want to talk about you. I want to talk about Pamp. I want to talk about Rafi. I want to talk about Dad. I want to talk about like all these roles that you have because you are consistent in them. And a lot of times I feel like when we go to work, we change who we are. Or
Right.
we like
Yeah,
mask it or
absolutely.
and like you don't do that.
You have to read the room, right? You got to be
Yeah.
able to walk in a room and read it and how to react to every situation. I could walk into a party and be Pamp and you know
Yeah.
and crazy, and then I could walk into a meeting and be very professional and talk with the best of them, right? And you're absolutely correct, and we have to teach that. You know, we have to push that forward.
Yes, we adapt like reading the room, but you've never changed.
No,
And that's what I love.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, to an extent, you play the room,
Yeah.
right? But as you're talking to people, they know they could feel your energy. They know like, okay, this guy's a cool cat. He's you know, the demeanor is not going to change. We could walk out of the room and business has ended, and now we're having fun.
Yeah, now we're gonna
and
go
you're
have a
gonna
beer.
yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
see a lighter side of me, and you're gonna be like, oh, that's him.
Right.
After a few times with someone, you know, like, okay, this is how they really are. Or you could say certain things and stuff like that. But I try to, I try to be who I am, and that's it. Get what you get.
So your job is obviously like requires a lot of weekends and things like that. How do you balance that? Most of the time we talk to the women, right? Like, hey, how do you do work-life balance? But I think in the work that you do, how do you balance being like a husband, a dad?
It's tough.
And
I question myself sometimes. Like, am I being a good enough husband? Am I being a good enough father? At the same token, you better have that drive to understand, like, hey, this is my family. That's my circle. That's first.
Right.
I take care of that all the time.
100%.
Homework done. Meals done. Everything's cool. Cool. I gotta go play Pamp.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta be Pamp. I gotta figure out the merchandise. I gotta figure out the next song, concerts. How do I fit in the crew that's gonna dance? Or it's a lot of it's scheduling. Some good scheduling,
is
right?
scheduling.
And even the scheduling doesn't always play out, and you know that.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, so I mean, I just try to schedule real good and make sure everybody's happy, and as long as everybody's like, no, we're good, then I feel like okay,
Okay.
now I
we're
can take
good.
care of business.
Yeah.
You know, second half of my house is like all my merchandise, right? I got like a shop going on.
I got
you
the
know?
basement. The
Yeah.
basement's mine.
Oh,
Don't
for sure.
touch the basement.
The basement's
Yeah.
mine too. Don't touch anything down there. I know where everything is.
Everything is,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. You know, I got teenagers. I got to watch them. It's
Oh.
like, hey, I got a hat for you. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
where my
like-
hat's going?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So, you know, I had a trucking company,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to take the boys with me all the time. And I'm like, you know what? On weekends, everything, you're gonna be the ones that clean the trucks. And I would give them gloves and the garbage can, and they would go around to all the trucks, and they would show up and be like, oh, you know, Mr. Donald, Mr. Sam, what can I get you? You know, I'd have drinks and everything. And I thought it was really important because I told them, I'm like, you know, you have to work too. You have to, like, this is a family business.
Right.
And so, you know, even giving up space in the house, that's like, hey, we're investing in our business. This
Right.
is why this space is reserved because it feeds us.
Right.
And so
Right.
the boys would always go in there and be like, can I just have a day off? But then I wanted them to see where I was and what I was doing, because when I'm not home, or when I was working like 7 days a week for, years, it's like, where I am. Like,
Right.
and you can always come with me. And that's probably hard for you because you can't take them to where you're going.
Yeah, so right, traveling, and a lot of the
Clubs.
places I
Yeah.
go into are 21 and over, and so the family's not going, and it's hard to take the wife with certain events because someone has to be home to take care of the
kids,
house,
yeah.
right? And so,
She's lovely, by the way.
thank you.
Adrian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's, at first it was like, this whole Pamp thing, you're getting older and,
Yeah.
and I said, yes, I am. And it's going to happen. At some point it's going to be like, I can't do this no more. I'm not going to be up on stage rhyming.
Yeah.
I'm going to push it to the limit.
Yep.
Time will tell me, right? It'll
Like
tell me
Vicente
like,
Fernandez.
hey, yeah.
When they stop clapping, I'll stop singing.
There it is.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still getting on stage, and I go to different states. And that's in the realm I am in dance music and house music. It's tough because it's not as big as it was on radio when we were younger, right?
yeah.
You could turn on a B96
Yup,
and listen
and
to
record it,
and
and
the music, right?
yeah.
And this again, that's how I taught myself. And so I rely on DJs throughout the United States and out of the country to play my record. That's the only way. I'm independent. I'm not signed to a label like I was, early on. Learned a lot from that business. Learned the hard way. Right? We talk about the hard way. You're gonna fail. You have to find your way and to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And so I did. And that part of my history helped me for where I'm at now. And I know how to maneuver through promoters. I know how to maneuver through the clubs. I know how to maneuver through radio. I know how to deal with my own music, right? And so
If you think back, how did you learn to maneuver? How did you learn to navigate all that area?
that part was when I got signed. I had a great manager, Bear, who he was the A&R for UC, which is Underground Construction Music, and he's the one that got me signed. Became my manager. He took care of everything for me as far as travel, getting signed, but he's also showing me, right? He was
That's
showing
good.
me the contracts. Hey, this is what we need. This is how we need to move. This is, and so I'm learning. I learned a lot of my travel through that. Like you tell me I got a show tomorrow, we're there, no
Yeah.
problem, gear ready. But that's how I learned, was to navigate professionally through that business, right?
Would you say he was a manager and like a mentor?
He's
or-
my mentor. He's my mentor. No doubt about it. I mean, he's till this day. He's really like my best friend, right? Because I can count on my hand how many friends I have, right? But I call friends like people who like really call and check up on you. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? How you doing? We have a
Yeah.
lot of friends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you have like but you have the core. There's this quote that I love, and I've said it like a million times, so here we go again. But this guy who was the general for Obama had to resign.
Okay.
And they asked him how long it took him to recover from that. And he said, I'll let you know when I do. But he said, what it taught me was you're going to fall and it's going to hurt.
Right.
But the people who you count on will help you get back up.
Correct.
But the people who count on you need you on your feet.
I love it.
And I was like,
I love
yeah,
it.
you know what? You've got to have that group of people that just piece you back together and send you back out.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like you said a little earlier, like we were a very close knit group. Nayeli, that group that we went to school with, they're still in my circle. I could pick up the phone. I could
Same.
call. The same people.
Yeah, yeah.
Lolita,
we'll call them.
Nair,
Oh
Edmund,
my
Lowen,
God, yeah.
the twins.
The twins.
I mean,
Carla and
Carla,
Cassandra.
Cassandra. I mean, these are people that I bring around my family, and they're like, I remember you.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like I cherish that. You can ask any of them. It'll
Yeah.
be a year, few months.
You just,
Boom. Hey, you
Yeah.
good? Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, he's checking up on me, and I know they know that.
Yeah.
And like Lolita, her daughter grew up with my kids. Like, come
Oh,
on,
that's beautiful.
come on.
That's
Circles,
beautiful.
circles are not like that
No,
anymore.
no, they're not.
And
No, we
that's my
were like,
family.
we
You guys are
stuck.
my family. I was
Yeah.
so mad when I had to leave. I was so mad. Like, people don't understand like how close we were.
Yeah, it was like it because we all none of us had parents around. All of
They
our
weren't.
parents
They were
worked.
working.
Yeah, so we just played outside,
Yeah.
went to each other's houses.
I was
Like,
running blocks
yeah.
to go see people.
Well, I mean,
So
like Adriana and I were cousins. We lived 2 houses away from each other. Like, I'm her daughter, their daughter's madrina. Like, she's at my house all the time. I'm at her house
Yeah.
all the time. And then it was so funny when Angel married and Lore got married. I was like, what? Now we're officially cousins.
Yeah, and they're telling me who they know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What you mean you know them?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"I know them. I grew
Yeah.
up with them." Talking about mentor, right?
Yep.
So Bear became my mentor, and so he taught me a lot of that game, the house music game, right? And with that, we both learned. We failed at some things, but we also are still here,
Yeah.
right? And that's because of our passion for music and how we want to move forward and how we want to leave our legacy behind and as Latinos, right?
Yep.
Because even in house music and this is a conversation I've been having with people, like we have huge festivals in Chicago. Huge. I'm not going to name all these festivals, but I and people know.
Yeah.
There a lot of them are probably like, "Where's Pamp? He should be performing," right? A lot of the DJs, Latino DJs that are out there, where are they? How come they're not reflected on those stages?
Right.
And we do have some Latinos throwing some big events, right? And that's where I'm happy because they're starting to knock on a door and they're making their way into the community and saying, "Hey, we throw big parties
Yeah,
too."
we know how to party.
No, we know how
Yeah.
to party. I mean, our community backs house music.
Yeah,
It's
we
made
do.
it's made promoters and these event throwers a lot of money.
Yeah.
So when you throw these events, I feel like you should be diverse and
Yeah.
know your
And also,
crowd.
you'll get a bigger crowd
Of course,
if you include
absolutely.
more people.
Absolutely. And so the Latinos, we need to keep pushing
Yeah.
so that we're on these stages too. And
I
so
I think about like Spanish heartthrob freestyle,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, throw one of those concerts, and you'll see all the 40-plus-year-olds out there. Like,
Listen, and they're and it's our generation
it is,
that grew
yeah,
up with that, right?
yeah.
But do not get it fooled.
No, I'm not.
These kids know all these songs that
No.
oh absolutely. Nayeli, I still perform and not only is our age group, our demographic there, but you have their kids there that are able to come in because they're 21 and they're bringing their friends because mom and dad are playing that still in the house.
Yep.
And guess what? They're out there like, "Oh, I remember."
Yes.
And so, don't get it twisted. These kids and look at my song, Looking for the Butter.
Yeah.
We're talking over 20 plus years and these kids are still playing it,
Love that.
and it speaks for itself. And it's a Chicago classic.
And you know what? Like, I think when we think about like the music we listened to from our parents, right? Which to me was like rancheras, all mariachi music.
Salsa, merengue.
Yeah, like we had and so we have those songs playing in.
Yeah.
They're on my
Yes.
playlist. Our kids will have that and my music and their music. Music is such a deep part of our culture.
Yes.
And what we remember, like growing up, right? Like we always say, like when you hear Vicente Fernandez, you're
Absolutely.
cleaning the house. It's Saturday
It's
morning.
going to put you in
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah.
It's going to put you in a place.
Well, we're going to cut this one off because if not, I could talk to you all day. We're going to definitely have you back. Thank you for what you represent.
I appreciate
And-
you having me here.
No, and who you are and how you've stayed true. You are, so consistently good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to continue working for, like I said, our community of Latinos out there. I'm going to represent until it's time,
Yep.
right? And I'm going to teach the kids, like, hey, you can be a producer, you can be a rapper, you can be a business owner.
Not all of us can sing.
No, I don't sing, though. I rap.
Yeah. Well, no,
I wish
not
I
all of
could
us can
sing.
rap.
Yeah.
I can barely get a sentence out sometimes. So, no. You know what? We'll have all of Ralphie's information so you could follow him. Check out his gear and just
Yes.
hear his music and know that this is one of our Chicago classics and someone who's
Absolutely.
definitely representing us.
On every streaming network, you could find my music. PAMP. So
Yeah.
I have a new album, Evicted.
Oh,
Yeah, I brought it for
oh,
you.
I saw that one.
You know what? Hey, check this out. Look at this.
Oh,
I got you a little something here.
Oh, nice.
So you can show off there so everybody can be mad.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Always the Chicago.
Man, look at
Like,
that.
look
It's
at
like a
that right
perfect
away.
fit.
I know. You probably
Check
measured.
you out. Yeah.
Oh, oh, look, it's not a CD anymore.
Nah, you plug that into your
For
car
sure.
and you're bumping.
Oh my God, I love it. I
Yeah.
never thought about plugging it into my car. I didn't know it worked like that.
Do you, listen,
know.
check this out. So that's how I make my money, right? I sell my album on a USB drive, right? So people are like, hey, where can I listen? Of course you could stream my music, right? That's what we're doing today. But I like the hard copy.
Yeah.
We really don't make money unless you're selling millions, right?
Right.
You sell millions, you might be making a nice check, right? But so I was like, I'm gonna put this album on a drive. So we customized it.
I love this. This is nice.
And so it tripped me out though when I handed it to
plated.
people. Yeah, I handed it to people and they're like, so
Like
should
on my
I put this in my
computer?
computer? And I'm like, yeah, but you could also put it in your car. And they're like, what do you mean?
Like,
And
yeah,
I'm
I
like,
never
your
thought about
USB
that.
drive, just plug it in.
Like,
I kid you not, I taught so many people that. And they tripping out. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see the images come up on there and you'll
that's
see like,
awesome.
yeah, and they're just like, really? And so now they're bumping in their rides to USBs when they find them available. They're like, I play this in the
crazy.
car. The kids love it. They're jumping around in the back. They got favorite songs. I love hearing those stories too. I won't keep you. I just wanted to share
I
that
love
with
it.
you.
I love it. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for
See
having
the
me.
gear, see the Chicago stars.
Stars and
always.
P.
Yep.
Baby.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on Corporate Cafecito, and we'll see you again next time. Adios.